helicoil kit. Comes with the tap. Tried to drill it out using this, but it didn't really work very well. I kind of think that maybe all the force going through all these mechanisms, I think that leverage, and it kind of binds, so I just don't think it's a very good product. So I went out and got myself this angle drill. Now this angle drill is pretty sweet. This angle drill is a Makita, and it costs more than $314 after tax. It's got a variable speed control here, as well as the variable speed control here at the trigger, forward and reverse. It's a good tool. It's a really good tool. It helped me get the job done. I spent a long time hacksawing this 1/4 inch metal to make a guide. This is kind of a rough estimation of what the fuel pump surface looks like that mates up to the block. As you can see, I was kind of trying to make myself a guide for the drill bit to go through so that it wouldn't go off askew. But it bound so much that I actually couldn't use it, which is really weird because I tried really hard to get it precise. You know, when I was drilling all the pieces on this vise that I bought, which is also really cool. It can swivel this way, it can swivel this way. It's got a little spot here where you can bang on something if you like. But I tried to be really precise with my drill bit. And the drill bit actually, you know, I stood up about 100 times and kind of looked, made sure if it was angling this way or this way, made sure it was straight, kind of made sure it wasn't going up or down. So I think I did pretty good. I think I did a pretty good job of making sure it went straight. And the drill bit went through all of those holes perfectly fine when it was in the vise. But when I had it all pieced together and then had it threaded on the one side, going into the engine block on this side, with the bolt holding it secure, the drill bit, I don't know what it was about why it bound up, but it bound up. I don't know if it was this or if it was the drill bit sort of biting into the cast iron of the engine block, which made it impossible for me to use this. But basically I took this off, and it's really too bad because I spent a long time making these, maybe more than 6 or 7 hours on Tuesday, and maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours on Monday night making this. I even bought this little tiny hacksaw to help me get into this area right here so I could put the actuating arm of the fuel pump through so that I could help me make a good template. But in the end, I couldn't end up using it, which is too bad. At least I got a cool vise out of the deal. And so after the 90-degree drill attachment didn't work and I bought the actual drill, I walked and bussed to Hillside Canadian Tire. They didn't have one. I went to another store but uptown. They didn't have one. I went to Lordco on Burnside. They didn't have one. I went to Lowe's at Tillicum Mall. They didn't have one. I finally went to KMS Tools over on Vandelman by Glanford, and they eventually had one. You know, I was talking to the guy at the counter, and he said, yeah, we have a cordless version, a corded version. One of them costs like $279, That was that one. And I said, do you have one that's cheaper? He said, yeah, because that one's kind of expensive. And he came up with another one. It's like a Canadian King or something like that, or King Canada or Canadian King or something like that. And he didn't recommend buying it because it wasn't a good brand. But it was only $74, and I wasn't going to use it that much in my lifetime. You know, it's not like I'm a tradesperson or whatever, so he suggested I buy that one. And when I was going to buy it, all of a sudden it was out of stock, And so then there was another option. It was like $169.99 just for the drill, not the battery pack or anything like that. And it was cordless. And I asked him how much the battery pack and the battery was going to cost, and he said, "Oh, it's going to cost another 169 bucks." So basically, I just bought that one because it was there. It was, I just needed to get the job done, and so that one cost me more than 314 bucks after tax. But whatever, I just needed to get the job done and put this problem behind me. What the process is with the helicoil is you have some damaged threads, right? So what you do is you use a drill bit that they recommend, 21/64 for this particular size. You drill it out, you drill out the damaged threads, and in that case there was still a bolt inside. And then after that you use a special tap, which is this tap right here, right? And then you tap out the threads, and then you put in these little things. You screw them in with this screw-in tool, right? And then the inner diameter of these helicoils will accommodate the original 5/16 bolt size. So it's like a thread repair kit. So I drilled out the hole with that awesome drill, and then I went about, cleaning out the hole with some compressed air in a can that I had. Good option if you don't have an air compressor. And then I went about tapping the hole, and the beginning of the tap went fine. The middle of the tap was okay, and then it got to a point where the tap had reached the full girth of the threads on the tapping tool, and so it became very difficult. And so I kept on applying pressure, backing it off half a turn, going half a turn, backing off half a turn, going a little bit more forward, backing it off half a turn again. It got really, really, really tough, right? And so I just kept on pushing more pressure because I thought that's how it went. I thought that's the nature of what it's like when you do a tap, and it goes from the tapered end of the tap over to the full girth of the tap. And so that's what I thought what was going on, and I pulled on it pretty hard, and it snapped, and so now the tap is broken off inside the engine block, and it really let me down. I was very nervous about messing this up all weekend. I spent all that time making those guides to try and make sure that everything went good, but it didn't. Yeah, it really let me down. I was really upset. So now either I have to not use these nice little fuel pumps with the glass bowl, which I really wanted to, that also provide vacuum for the windshield wipers. Now I either have to not use the mechanical fuel pump because of this, and just use an electric fuel pump, which gets mounted close to the gas tank. Or what I can try and do is I could try and use a tap extractor, but I really have little faith that that'll work, because the tap extractor is like a four-pronged, instrument that goes in between the flutes, and then you twist it out. I have little faith that it's going to work, because so much of my strength was being used to turn this, because I thought that's what I should do, but I just didn't know because I was ignorant. And I just don't think that a little thing is going to really turn that out. But I think I could order it, wait for it to show up, and at least try and use it and see if it'll work. I don't think it will. There's other methods that you could use to get out a tap, like drilling it out with a diamond hole saw bit. I don't know if that'll work, but I'm willing to try. It just sucks. It really sucks. That really sucks. I tried to grab what's left of the tap inside the hole with this little pair of pliers that I bought, but it just made the tap shatter and crumble, and so now no success. Yeah. I think what I need to do is I think I need to get on with, something else with the Rambler. I think I need to make some sort of progress that I can feel better about it, because I'm really starting to get pretty down about how things are going. And all of this happened just because I didn't pay attention to the difference in thickness of the flange between this fuel pump and this one. Like, see, this one's thicker and this one's thinner right here. All of this has happened just because I didn't pay attention to what I was doing, and I torqued down the bolts and it snapped off. All of this trouble has happened just because of a few moments of not paying attention to what I was doing. And it's incredible what can happen. It's a series of, chain of events, right? Yeah. So anyways, I'm kind of bummed, but I think I gotta move on and do something else with the Rambler, just to sort of, maybe I'll order the extractor just to try it and see if it'll work. I'll order it, and while I'm waiting for it to show up, I think what I'll do is I'll buy another couple of pieces of metal. I definitely won't use the same stock as this, even though I have a lot of this left. I just don't know if I want to go about going through hacksawing through a 1/4 inch to make a template to cover that area on the engine block, and essentially cap it off and plug that hole so that no oil gets out of it. And I can do the 20-minute break-in, or at least try to, and I can cap off that hole, and I can just feed the fuel into that tiny little brass, I don't know what it's called, but it's where the fuel comes out of the fuel bowl and the carburetor. And I think if I just keep on filling up that fuel bowl with a syringe, this one, I think what I can do is I can maintain the amount of fuel that's supposed to be in the carburetor to do the 20-minute break-in, and I can do it. I can do it without the fuel pump being there. Just cap it off, put get some gasket paper, cut out a template, put some gasket paper on the other side of it, and then just use some Hermetex black, coat it, seal it, so that no oil comes out of that hole in the engine, and you do the 20-minute break-in without a fuel pump. I don't know. Anyways, that might be an idea. I said I hated this car about 12 times yesterday out here in the yard after it broke off the tab. I just need things to start going better. Anyways, 1958 AMC Rambler Super part, probably 70. I don't know. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye.